So, ladies and gentlemen, your 8th bout of the evening to be fought over 3-minute rounds of the amateur mixed martial arts rules in the 70-kilogram category. Introducing, but fighting out of the blue corner, please welcome Sam Chapman and his opponent standing across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, please welcome James Doolan.
In the black shorts, James Doolan in the black and white trunks. Nice takedown from Doolan.
Chapman throwing some heavy leather while stood up, but Doolan closed the range nicely. James Doolan, a guy we've seen it a few times, Dave, around the amateur scene. Great stand-up, known for his spinning kicks, got a good arsenal of kicks, but showing another wrinkle to his game with a well-timed takedown and some good top control.
Yeah, and that's good to see. You know, that's what the amateur game's all about, is, you know, evolving your game and showing different avenues. So credit to the Supremacy guys. And James Doolan now trying to work a bit of ground game, and he's moved into side control nicely here. Half guard. Looking to get the mount now, putting a lot of pressure on with that crossface. Some good methodical groundwork thus far from James Doolan.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job of stifling the offense of Sam Chapman. Chapman came out with fistful of fire through 2 or 3 big looping hooks, and Doolan did the right thing, closed the distance, good takedown, and he's really been in control of this fight for the lion's share of the first round here.
Yeah, and you know, we see a lot of fighters in the game. I mean, classically, Randy Couture is the man you always talk about when you talk about fighters on top just staying in the half guard and looking to pepper shots. You know, just being content with that position and scoring away. Doolan, to his credit, is looking to stand up maybe and pass, but while he's been in this half guard, he has scored and he's kept busy, Ben.
I think it speaks a lot of the evolution of not only the amateur game, but the sport in general. The significance of certain positions changes over time. If you look back at the genesis of this sport right at the start, when fighters would get mounted, it'd basically be over, and now we see that mount's not as an advantageous position. But you make a good point with guys like Randy Couture and also Dan Anderson. Those Greco-Roman guys love just sitting in the half guard, posturing up, and using that body control they had to hold and hit, and that's what Doolan's done so far, and he's doing a really good job of crushing his man up against the cage and being active enough to not get stood up and land shots, which in the amateur game, Dave, is 99% of what's needed to win rounds and ultimately win fights.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, credit to Sam Chapman, he got back to full guard, but James Doolan's just standing up now, as you say, just having that stifling offense. She's good posture here, Ben. Some great balance shown, just peppering away, just cementing this round in the books.
Good controlling round that for James Doolan, Dave. Chapman set his stall out early, throwing those big shots, really planting his feet and leaning into those hooks. And from what we've seen of Doolan before, we maybe expected him to stand and bang a little bit, but he saw the opportunity was there, got that double, and that was the story of that first round. He maintained any time that you're doing enough on top to not get stood up, it's a good sign at an amateur level. If you're landing enough ground and pound, advancing the position enough, making enough of what you've got for the referee to acknowledge that that's significant action, then it's very hard, very, very hard to lose rounds at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to Doolan for that, and also he's going to have made Sam Chapman think now, Ben. You know, Chapman's probably not going to be as loose as he was on the feet before, because he's worried that if Doolan does get the takedown and get on top of him, it's a very difficult position to be in. So, you know, it could quite possibly stifle the attacks of Sam Chapman on the feet as well.
And also realistically, I mean, that's one round down. Like you said, I mean, how many more rolls of the dice has he got? If he throws a big shot, gets taken down, and spends the lion's share of this round underneath, then he's going to come out in the third looking awesome.
Nice left hook.
Clipping left from Doolan.
Beautifully ducked under the strike there. Oh, great work from Doolan. He timed that beautifully, Ben. Ducked under the strike, went for the double leg, now ended up back in a familiar position. We saw him in the first round on top in the half guard of Sam Chapman.
And if it isn't broke, Dave, I mean, realistically, well, there really is no need to fix it at that point. This is a really well game planned fight, and it's not often we see that at the amateur level. We see guys come in and sometimes they're a bit wild and they get that big rush of adrenaline and they go in there kind of swinging really hard. But from Doolan's point of view, this is a clever fight. He's getting the time in, getting the rounds in, reclaims full guard to Chapman. But he's making the most of a skill that we've not seen him use before, and that's the great thing about if you follow these guys on an amateur level, Dave, you do see the evolution of these skills quite a lot.
Yeah, full guard for Chapman, but still just getting stacked up by Doolan. Not able to mount any sort of submission offense. Good posture from James Doolan.
What Doolan's done as well for both these exchanges, Dave, he's had the guy in his corner. He's taken the guy down and he's working him in his corner so he can have all that advice, and his own corner over in the blue corner over there really aren't offering a lot of advice, and it's great game planning from a fighter competing in the amateur ranks.
Yeah, and landing some heavy ground and pound to the body now, James Doolan. He just looks in no danger of being swept, Ben. He's just doing really well there to stay on top, and there's no threat off the back from Sam Chapman at the moment. Doolan's basically having his way, although he doesn't look like he's close to finishing the fight. He's he's busy enough to stay here and just keep knocking away these rounds.
James Doolan's corner just reinforcing, keep doing what you're doing, but they keep saying no mistakes as well, and they're very instructional in terms of making him being aware of the fact of not getting too relaxed out there. He's controlling his man. He's got the takedowns and the top control. But I mean, this is the sport. This could happen at any point. But Chapman really needs to have a think about how he's going to take this third round.
Yeah, well, firstly, Benny, I mean, he's got to avoid the ground at all costs. That goes for certain now. He's going to have to find a way to keep this on his feet.
But the problem, as we've alluded to earlier, is the fact that he needs the finish, and he needs the finish. And the problem with that is he's going to have to commit a bit more to those punches and kicks now. And the problem with that in itself is that leaves him more vulnerable to being taken down. It's a really vicious circle when we see fighters entering into a position where they've been controlled for 2 rounds, and they're coming in at the third.
Jay, you know he's got to come out in this one. Let's be sensible. Nice and tight. Say it again. Nice and tight hands, Jay. Underneath that hook, Jay. There we go.
Nice left hand from Doolan.
That's been a mainstay of his offense in a lot of respects, Dave. Oh, and a big right.
Think about it.
As you mentioned earlier, Ben, I think the corner of Doolan, just keep saying think and make no mistakes and etc. They know that Doolan's kind of thrown away fights before, by the sounds of it, so they're just very keen for him to just concentrate and see this one through, which has been a flawless performance so far. Again, beautifully steps under that strike, gets the double leg, and then, you know, gets the action back to where we've seen it in the first 2 rounds. Straight in front of his corner team again, Ben.
The great thing for me there is, from Doolan's point of view, is he entertained the stand-up for a little bit longer than he did in previous rounds. He got Chapman lured into that almost full sense of security, but the second that Chapman sat down and threw a hook like that, Doolan went straight in on the double. The double he's hit 3 times. And he finds himself in a familiar position, on top, in control, landing strikes.
Body heads, good lad, and again, Jay. There we go. Heavy heads, heavy heads. Well done. Keep working it, Jay. Keep working it, mate. Body head, body head. Body head every day there, Jay. Now, there we go, there we go. There we go.
King.
Doolan stacking his man up.
Yeah, nice hips.
There we go, Jay. Well done, well done.
Gets position. Chapman gets full guard, but it's not going to be enough. Ben, as you mentioned, needs the finish here.
And this body head ground and pound, Dave, might not be the most kinetic, it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing to watch, but you cannot say that it's not effective.
No, it's scoring in the eyes of the judges, and you know, he's already 2 rounds up. He just needs to chip away here. He doesn't need to do anything extravagant. He needs to do more of the same. James Doolan, it's been a fantastic performance from him.
30 seconds, Jay Doolan. Nice. Keep it going. Nice, Jay. No mistakes, Jay. Heavy hits. Heavy hits. Shoot that leg right up his ass there, Jay. Don't let him move. Well done.
And something we don't often see at the amateur level, but we've talked about it throughout this fight, Dave. This has been game planning at its finest for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what you get with that, having that, you know, that experience, Ben, in those few fights. You know, you work on your mistakes and try and put it all together in one performance, and that's what James Doolan's done thus far.
3 rounds in the books and a great performance from James Doolan. Sam Chapman really didn't get a chance to get his game going. When he sat down and swung, more often than not, he was taken down. And so often we see it, David, especially at this level, fighters only really need 3 takedowns to win fights. And Doolan had that double, and he hit it in the first, hit it in the second, and hit it in the third. He maintained that control, and it really was a flawless performance from James Doolan.
Fighters assemble, please. And so, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 hard-fought rounds, we go to our judges this evening. With a unanimous decision, your winner in the red corner, James Doolan. And let's hear for his opponent, let's hear for Sam Chapman.